We have certainly seen that the topic that we discussed in Davos, namely Europe has to look out for itself, has gotten more and more prominent. And I think nobody in Europe now believes that we can afford to sit back and relax in terms of our defense spending, our effort of strengthening the European pillar of NATO, and the likelihood of us increasing our defense spending further is very high.
Do you support the plan of the likely incoming Chancellor to dramatically increase and indeed, of course, to shift the fiscal rules of Germany that have been the bedrock for as long as most people can remember? Do you support that?
Sure, I've been part of the discussions, so it's all very well thought out. And as I said, Europe has to look out for itself in terms of strengthening the European pillar of NATO, and for that we will need financial resources.
I was in Berlin last week, and people have talked about Germany needing to find its footing again, Germany needing to get on the front foot. You talk about the infrastructure. Fred Pleiken, who I'm sure you know is our correspondent there, he talked about often that people are seeing a crisis of confidence in Germany. Do you now think that these measures will, to a large extent, alleviate that crisis of confidence and allow Germany to play a leading role in these changes and future of Europe?
Well, I think the answer is yes, but we also need impulses for growth outside of the fiscal impulse. And just on Saturday, the CDU, the CSU, and the SPD, so the parties negotiating on the new government, published a paper that will form the basis of coalition talks. And that paper addresses a lot of the issues outside of the fiscal space that are hindering our growth. We are resolved to cut red tape. We are resolved to fixing our shortage of skilled labor. We are resolved to set tax incentives for corporates to invest more in our country and to engage more in research and development. We have a clear plan to reduce energy costs, both the production of energy and the transport of energy through our grids, by 5 cents per kilowatt hour. So in combination, the fiscal impulse with the structural initiatives to tackle the four central points that companies have given us as hindrances to growth, I think that will be a strong impulse to growth.
Yeah, what about the Greens? The Greens have sort of said they may torpedo the whole thing. They don't like the cuts, and they're not sure it's the right way, and the increases, etc. Can you get a deal without the Greens? I guess is the blunt question.
No, I mean the Green Party is certainly important to get the 2/3 majority, and it's their absolute right in a negotiation to say what they are concerned about and to introduce points into negotiations.
Right. Well, I'll rephrase the question then. Can you accommodate those legitimate concerns? And if you can't accommodate them, then you're in trouble. Well, you're going to have to, because as you just said, you need them for the 2/3.
Well, as I said, the points that they raise are legitimate, so I'm firmly confident that it will be possible to find an agreement between the parties who are necessary for the 2/3 majority.
And what about you, sir? Do you see a role for yourself post whatever happens next? Have you decided what you're going to do?
The inevitable question that I cannot answer, because positions in government are always the very last thing at the end of a coalition negotiation that are discussed. So I have no comment on that topic yet.